Okay, so for the second installment of the series, I'm going to be showing you how I made all these doors, drawers, and the doors. So like I said in the first video, these are all inset style doors and drawers, which means that the cabinet face is flush with the frame of your cabinet. I personally find this style to have the biggest learning curve because I haven't finalized my reveals. But if this gap around the door is off, which you might be able to tell in the camera that some of them are because I haven't fine-tuned them, it just kind of makes everything look not junky, but your eye will pick up the shadow that creates and the difference in the reveal, and it could be a sign of not poor craftsmanship, but if other woodworkers are looking at it, something that you'll notice. So most of this video is, like I said, going to be making those, and I haven't put the pulls on, but these are Undermount drawer slides, so you don't have hardware on the side, and they're also soft close. So they slide into place nicely, as well as these are, since they're inset style doors, they have inset style hinges. And I have to still make the top for that, but this is mostly the finished cabinet, and that's what video 2 will be pertaining to. So the beginning portion of this video is going to be building out the inside of the cabinet. So I had some 2x6s laying around, and I ripped them into 1-inch wide strips. So now these are 1 inch by 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to screw these to the inside of the cabinet, and the base can sit on top of it. Sometimes I opt to make a rabbet, but it was just easier to do it this way considering that the legs protrude into the inside of the cabinet. So you can see with them, I just mounted them 3/4 of an inch lower than the top of my frame because I'm going to be putting a 3/4 inch piece of plywood in there, and that will just, the plywood would sit on top of it. There's also not going to be any weight really going into this cabinet. The portions where the drawers are, there's going to be no weight sitting on the bottom, and then the middle is mostly going to be for plumbing and stuff you'd have in your bathroom. So these little shims on the side are going to be more than enough. So this is the piece I cut out for the bottom. I trimmed off the corners so that it could slide into place, and I just cut this a little smaller than the inside length so that you could see how I could lift it into place. And I just used the measurements from the inside of my cabinet. If your cabinet isn't square, this is where you'll start to notice it, is if this square stock you cut to fit in place doesn't fit. You could see how there's really no gaps between my base and the face frame. So then where my verticals were, I made marks, and I'm cutting dados. The sink that's going into this cabinet is a fairly large basin style sink, so it's going to sit underneath the countertop, and I wanted to be able to put the two verticals with plywood for the sink to sit on top of, so that you didn't have to worry about the sink sagging over time. So that's basically what this design is revolved around, having a place to attach the hardware for the drawer slides, but also something for the sink to sit on. So I just cut those dados and then cut these verticals to fit into place. You can see how that is going to partition off the inside of the cabinet. Once I had it clamped in place, I can mark, and the marks were based on what the customer wanted. So the sink was going to start 4.5 inches back from the front of the cabinet. Like I said, it's a basin style that's similar to a trapezoid on the side. So I should just make my marks with a jigsaw and then cut out this shape. Now what ended up happening was I decided to, this is 3/4 inch plywood, and I decided to make it 1 inch plywood. I'll laminate a 1/4 inch sheet onto it later, and you'll see why. But in order to attach these, I decided to use grooves and stock on the side. So I'm just using my biscuit joiner to make a groove going down the edge, and I'm using the plate fence on the biscuit joiner to run across my vertical piece in order to get an even groove. And this is from Harbor Freight, so that's why it always smokes when I use it, but it gets the job done, and I don't use a biscuit joiner a ton. So once I got to the top, I could lift up the fence and create a fence with a 2x4 and finish making that cut.
So this is that piece laminated together, and the reason I did that is because since my vertical is 1 inch wide and I'm using inset hinges and drawer slides, it was just going to make my life a lot easier if this inner partition was the same thickness as my vertical pieces, so I wouldn't have to add shims on the inside of the cabinet. So once I had those two pieces laminated together, this is a 1/4 inch piece of plywood laminated on top of 3/4. I could recut my marks for my sink. So you can see how that's going to slide into place. And then I could clamp this all together, and what is going to go into those grooves is going to be splines. So I believe these ended up being a little around 1/8 inch thick. So I just took some 1/8 inch stock, cut it into splines, and before I did that I had that in place and I marked it for where the grooves on the inside of the cabinet aligned with my plywood, and then I just used my tall fence to make those marks are the same on all the pieces of the plywood, and I could just cut down and make a groove. It was, like I said, it's a little bit thicker than 1/8 inch, so I had to move it ever so slightly in order to get the width I needed. But then that is the groove on the plywood that corresponds to the groove that's on the face frame of the cabinet. And then there's my splines. This is just scrap poplar I had that I cut to thickness, and they'll slide all the way down. And then once this is glued together, this will be super strong. The cabinet is really sturdy. So before I did glue it all together, I marked the top side of the cabinet and I made a dado. The customer had come to my shop between doing this, and we had originally the top drawers were going to be fold out drawers with a little cubby, but we decided there was enough room to make short drawers in the top, which means I had to order another set of drawer slides, but also since I needed a little piece of shim at the top, which you'll see me add later, I wanted to put a dado in there so I could attach that shim without worrying about the drawer slide moving. For my last couple projects, I've been using these Bloom Undermount drawer slides. They're probably the most expensive ones, but they work really well. And once you get past the learning curve of the math, they just function exceptionally well. And I also personally feel like there's a lot of wiggle room in your boxes and in your cabinet if your cabinet's not square. So for what it lacks in accessibility, I guess is a good word for it, for building in the beginning, because the manual you can print out is at least 6 pages long. It makes up for in versatility. So what I did was I went through and I found all the original sizes of my openings, which is great because they're all square and the same, except for the ones at the top, which are going to be smaller. And then using their instructions, I found all of my final sizes. Basically, for the height on my application, I'm supposed to take off 25-30 seconds. I always just round this up to an even 1 inch. It just makes for any sort of wiggle room and problems I have. You're only really taking a small amount more than what they recommend, so it's not like you're severely cutting down your box. So I subtract 1 inch from all of my openings. So these are pretty rounded off numbers, so my 6 3/4 turns to 5 3/4. And then you also have to subtract for the width, and I have 25. My plywood is 23-30 which most plywood you're going to get from the hardware store, that is what it is. It's going to look like it's 3/4, but it's most likely 23-30. So I just have to take a 1/2 inch off of the width of my opening. Once again, nice round numbers. So all my 12-inch openings will turn to 11.5, and the 8.5 is going to turn to 8. So those are my rough sizes, and all of this is going to be 21 inches long, the final dimensions of the box. So I filmed making drawers multiple times, so I always go through it pretty quick. I have a more detailed video on my channel if you want more in-depth explanations. But basically I use a dovetail jig, so I'm using 3/4 inch oak, and that is because I can't do, you could do 5/8 inch, but that's hard to find in the hardware store, so I just use 3/4. It's usually a little thick for drawers, but I prefer that. Sometimes using 1/2 inch, I find the drawers to just be a little flimsy. So I'm basically going through, and with the measurements I just gave you, cutting all of my front faces, ripping everything down to the height I needed, and then cutting down the front faces. And once I have those, I set a stop on my radial arm saw, and I'll cut down all of my sides. Since all of these are similar, it was nice I could just rip strips on the table saw and cut all of my pieces. So then once you have all your pieces, you can see that's what it looks like together. I could just put it in this jig. These jigs can be a little tedious to set up. This is a cheap Harbor Freight knockoff, but once you get it set up, the repeatability is so great. And for making 6 drawer boxes at once, I could just pound them out, and they'll have dovetails on them, so they'll be super sturdy. So you can see, you just put your pieces in there, and I have a link to, I believe it's in my description, to someone who will show you how to set up this jig, because like I said, it can be a little tedious, but once you get it, they're really great. And then you could just go through, and then this is already pretty much one box done. I always do a scrap piece before I build these drawers, just to make sure everything is still aligned from having sat on my shelf, and then I could do all of them. And just hammer them together. You want them to fit tightly, but not too tight, so this is just a dead blow hammer that can make the joint. And then I tape all of them when I have this many boxes, just so that my pieces realign, because you're cutting them all together. They're probably somewhat interchangeable, but it's just easier to keep track of them. Then once I have my stack, I'm marking the bottom, because I'm going to put a dado on the bottom edge, and the dados for these drawer boxes have to be a 1/2 inch up from the bottom for clearance of the drawer slides. So you can see that's what it looks like. So with the marks on the front side, I know if I see my mark against the fence, it's in the right spot. So I'm keeping these drawer sides a little long, just because it won't hurt things if I keep them long. And then I'm just cutting a 3/4 inch dado in the back of them in order to get my depth, and then I can mark them and cut all of my bottoms at once. Like I said, this cabinet is nice and square, which means all of these parts are the similar sizes. If they're off size, you could always make minor adjustments, but it's so much easier when everything's the right size. You could just make multiples. Then once I have the bottoms, I could go through and put glue on these. Now, I'm a little glue heavy on things in general, so sometimes you have to really hammer them together, because if that joint is full of glue, there's really no room for the joint to fit, so you have to kind of squeeze out some of that glue. So I could put one side together, slide in my bottom, which I don't know if I mentioned this, but that is 1/4 inch plywood on the bottom, and then I could hammer together the sides. Once the sides are together, I could put the backer on, and the backer is just the space between the 2 dados. Once that's in place, I'll measure everything for square, make sure everything is square. If your boxes aren't square, it could be a real pain. Sometimes they're salvageable, sometimes they're not, so just keep checking for square. Measure your diagonals, use a quick square to measure the inside, and then once it's square, I could sink a bunch of brads. Now you can see that my back portion of my cabinet doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. It sits on top of the bottom of the shelf, and that just saves some time, because I won't have to cut out a groove in the back side of the cabinet for these drawer slides. I'm putting a shim on both sides of the cabinet, because since the inside's inset, I need something to screw the drawer slides to, so I just put a little 3/4 inch shim in the back. Once I have the bottoms mounted, I used a 1/2 inch piece of wood, and that was enough of a spacer to then go up the sides of my cabinet, space out the drawer slides, and then I have a 9/16 spacer in the front. You could see it in there, so I just used that little piece of key stock to mount all these, and it was easy to bust them out once I had that spacer. Once that was screwed in place, I can move it over to the other side and attach the other one. So for the back, you usually have to notch out, but like I said, I didn't put my backer all the way to the ground, so I could just put the drawer slides in place, hammer a little bit to give me a mark, and then that's what I'm using for the drill holes in the back. For the fronts, I usually have a pilot bit in my drill, so I use that to pre-drill a little hole, and then I could use my driver to sink the screws in. They sell jigs for both these applications, but I haven't found I needed one. And then once that's in place, the hole in the back I believe is 5/32. So with the mark I have, I could drill those out. So then for the top part, I'm actually putting pocket hole screws on two edges of this, because the pocket hole screws will go into the face frame and this will be really sturdy, and then I'll have a nice flat solid surface to mount that top drawer slide onto. So I'm just using a pocket hole jig, pretty simple for making pocket holes. I don't use them a lot, but when they do come in handy for certain applications. So you can see that that piece slides into that dado I cut, and there's the pocket hole. Pocket holes, I could put 2 screws in there with some glue and this will never move. So there's one on the other side as well. You can see that now I can mount that left side drawer slide right on the top of that plywood. This is the skinny drawer to make room for the sink, and that is how that will fit in place. And then I always have a piece of scrap with me. You can see I'm testing it at the back because these are inset, so that they're going to have 3/4 inch fronts out of the same sort of plywood. So I have that piece of scrap with me to make sure that my drawer slides are set not too far forward and not too far back.